Please welcome to Good Day Philadelphia, Representative Pat Toomey. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Barack Obama in your area today.
He
the
is.
Lehigh Valley, Allentown.
I think it's terrific. I'm glad he's going to be in the Valley. I'm glad he's going to be in Pennsylvania.
Will you go up for his visit?
No, I won't be participating in the visit.
Okay, let's talk about jobs. That's what he's going to be talking about in Allentown and the Lehigh Valley today. He says yesterday one of his greatest fears is that we will not close this unemployment gap. How would you close the gap? How do you create jobs?
And that's got to be the #1 priority. So I'm glad he's focusing on this. I hope it becomes a priority. I would say a few things. Number one, let's end the bailouts of failing companies. This does not create jobs. This perpetuates failing enterprises. Number two, let's rescind the unspent money from the stimulus bill that clearly is not creating jobs while unemployment rate is going up over 10%. Let's put some limits on federal spending because we can't borrow and spend our way to prosperity. With that savings, I would suggest we do two things: reduce our deficits and lower payroll taxes. Lowering payroll taxes gives every worker a take-home pay raise on day one, and it lowers the cost for employers to hire the next worker. That'll create jobs.
But some of the stimulus money is being paid back. Some of it is. Bank of America says yesterday.
You mean the TARP money?
The TARP money.
Right.
Bank of America, one bank says we're going to try to pay this back now.
Yeah, and that's a good development. I think we should terminate the TARP program. Some of that money was never invested in the first place. Good. Let's not do it. And then let's have an expedited process by which we get the funds back as quickly as we reasonably can from those banks that took it so that we can use that money to pay down deficits and, as I say, lower payroll taxes to create jobs.
You know, the president's plan for Afghanistan is basically a platform for anyone who's running for any office to kind of make a headline. And the headline that I read from your remarks is that you're Republican running for U.S. Senate.
Right.
You like his plan, though. You're not quick to jump all over it.
You know, I think the president had a very, very tough decision to make. When you're talking about war and peace and sending, men and women into harm's way, that's a very tough call. I think the president probably made the right call under very difficult circumstances. I'm going to support his decision in Afghanistan.
But, he talks a lot about the inattention that Afghanistan had during the Bush administration all those years. But you say his inattention to Iran maybe is even more startling.
What worries me about Iran is we have this process of just perpetual negotiations and discussion. And what's clear is that the regime in Iran intends to develop nuclear weapons. And I think that is completely unambiguous. They have violated all kinds of commitments, UN protocols, UN agreements. So I just think we should take the most aggressive sanctions, economic sanctions. We should be very firm. We shouldn't give them any more deadlines. We shouldn't prolong this because all they need is time to develop the technology to build nuclear weapons. So we should have the most strenuous economic sanctions we can impose now.
Down in Washington, they are debating the health care reform plan. A lot of language, a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo, but here in Philadelphia, you just heard, over at Children's Hospital, there are workers that have been told that they will be fired if they don't take a seasonal flu vaccine. What do you make of that?
This is the first I've heard of that, and it struck me as very surprising, but I have to tell you candidly, I'm not familiar with the logic behind that, so I'd want to understand that before I...
Well, it's the first time in their history they have done it, and we're going to have Dr. Mike in just a little bit to discuss this, debate this, because it is somewhat controversial.
It's pretty surprising.
They just feel that they can keep their patients safe if everybody is inoculated.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the, it's just to say that's one of the things that people are debating with the health care. Are we going to be forced into making decisions that may not be?
This health care bill goes in the wrong direction. All kinds of mandates, over $1 trillion of new spending, all kinds of taxes, even on workers, on employers, on employees. It'll be a job-killing bill.
The latest polls show that by a little bit of a margin, people want that public option.
The more they learn about it, they'll understand that it'll drive them off the private coverage that they're satisfied with, and that's not a good option.
Okay. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
coming in.